Hello, 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 and welcome back to Ascension TV Online. I'm Caroline Mary. I am your host today. And today we have the beautiful Ruth Mitchell from Embodied Energetics with me. Ruth is an Inter-Stellar Galactic Shaman with 30 years working consciously with the energy field. And she helps healers and old souls align with their unique blueprint and unlock their soul gifts. So welcome, Ruth. Thanks for joining me today. Would you like to share a little bit more about the work you do and what led you to doing the work that you do today in the world?
Oh, Caroline Mary, thank you so much for having me on. Yes.
You're welcome.
Possibly the biggest two questions that you could land me with as soon as we move in. It's like, here it comes, my life story. I'm here to activate the new human. I'm here to activate the new cells of consciousness, which I suppose they've been lying dormant. It's about, as we're moving into, we're in a wonderful time at the moment. That it is. I wrote a post the other day. It's the worst of times, but the best of times. But let's just concentrate on it being the best of times for today, because we all know about the crumbling. We all know about the dismantling that's going on.
Yeah.
But if we just feel into what is exciting, it's people who are much more gifted in this type of prophecy than I am. But it's talked about, isn't it? That from 2012, I suppose, these new energies were coming in, moving towards 2032. And again, there's other people. Diana Cooper talks about this a lot, doesn't she? Yeah. So I'm here to help activate that new human. Now, what is the new human? This is about being in our fully awakened stage. This word awakening has been bandied around for a lot of time. But, what does that actually mean? It's about our fullest potential. Yes, it depends which language you're used to. It's about us moving from being carbon-based to crystalline.
Yeah.
It's a change on a biological level. It's a developmental shift. This is talked about, from now until 2027. Again, people who are much more gifted, much more knowledgeable than me are talking about this massive change, this massive leap in human evolution. And it's about us remaining essentially safe in the human existence.
Yes.
The old ways aren't working, are they? The definition of stupidity is just continuing to do continuing to do the same old thing and expecting a different result. So within the DNA, the energy, Richard Rudd, Gene Keys, talks about this. Anybody who's listening knows about the Gene Keys, but it's a change on a DNA level, but the energy, the information, the way that we have of attuning, the way that we have of perceiving, these are inherent gifts, but they just seem to have been either buried. Other people talk about, they were all switched off because of Atlantis. Look, I don't know. All right, I don't know, but it's a nice story. So I'm here. I call it gifts. I call them talents. There's a wonderful book, actually, The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. It's a work of fiction. I was just reading it over the summer. But, he's talking about gifts and talents coming online, within that recent novel. So if we can just say that it's awakening to these inner gifts that sit within us. We talk about having 5 senses. Most of us will talk about 6. But actually, science has discovered that we've got 36.
Right.
What are they doing? Our brains, we know, don't we, that we're not even doing, we know that there's parts of the brains that we don't even know what they're for.
Yeah.
It's about, all of this is starting to come online.
Yeah.
Back when I was with the monks, and they used to talk, our training was about becoming superhuman.
Yeah.
I look back now, it's very many years, 20 years ago that I started that training, but it's interesting the parallels, with the people that I am now listening to. Again, people who know a lot more than me. Lee Harris talks about it, Sabrina Lynn, I love her. Richard Rudd, I've already mentioned. Kelly Konodny, oh my gosh, she talks about this gestation period that we're in, which absolutely matches certainly the one that I've been going through. since, I felt these energies. I mean, look, it's what I've always been here for, but I've come through, like lots of us healers, I've come through very many guises. I've lived very many lifetimes in this one. And I think for a lot of us healers, we've had to remain hidden, haven't we, almost, So, but with that, I was certainly, and this ties in with what, as I say, people who are much more expert in the field than me, that it was November 24, that now I can always go a little bit in with Scorpio season anyway, as a Inter-Stellar Galactic Shaman. I think about 2 years ago, someone said to me, "What does that mean?" I'm in tune with the planets. These Earth itself is a galactic planet. It was when I started coming into having that perception, having that perspective, that I actually started feeling at home here.
Right. I see.
Yeah. When it was tuning into that, because, if there's galactic beings, and I think, this is part of the awakening, and certainly, a sign for anyone that possibly this is what's being activated, is that suddenly just a bit of an awareness that just maybe there's something else going on. Maybe we're not so alone.
Absolutely. Can I ask you, Ruth, when was it that first occurred to you? Because I remember really profoundly watching Star Wars. I was born in London, and we used to travel up to Wales to see my parents' friends, and they had 2 small kids, and we watched things with them, and the adults were all chatting, and they had loads of Star Wars toys, and I would watch Star Wars, and I'm like, like, that, so were you always that way, or did it happen in a certain thing, or what happened for you, Ruth?
Well, you've just triggered something in my memory, and I'm going to say, Carol Mary, I don't think I've ever told anyone this before. I think there's a bit of shame sitting there. But I've got a younger sister. She's 4 years younger, and we used to share a bedroom, also in London, by the way, fellow Londoner. For a time anyway. I've moved lots of different places, and I can remember saying to her, "I'm not really human, I'm an alien. I'm not really human." Used to make her cry. But like you, Space 1999 changed my life.
Okay, right.
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm showing my age here. I am closer to 60 than I am 50.
Okay.
And then Star Wars, I mean, I was Luke Skywalker at the same time as wanting him as a brother. Actually, only last week I dreamt I was in space. I was sort of, remember Superwoman? Was it Superwoman? Wonder Woman used to have that invisible airplane. I was in an invisible spaceship. So I'm just remembering the dream now, and floating past a sort of huge meteorite. But you know what? Even when I think about space like that, I feel a sense of calm and peace.
I was getting tingles all the way over. I did a meditation a few weeks ago with Caroline Oceana Ryan, somebody that I followed for years and had healings with and messages from and things. And I wasn't expecting it on the call, and it was a group call, and we went up to a ship to receive healing on these energy beds, and I could see it like it was just like completely normal. And I'm well aware that we probably do a lot of that in our sleep, but I haven't consciously done that a lot, and I feel like there's still a fear in me. I used to, on the contrary, I then watched things like Doctor Who and had that Daleks energy, and I'm sure that was part of the negative agenda to stop us, because even though, like we've talked about, I do speak light language, I do feel like I connect to those parts of me, who knows what other agendas are there to stop us, isn't it? So
I mean, I've been very, I want to say alive to the dark forces, but is that probably the wrong term? I mean, this is and we were talking earlier, I mean, this is what has guided my journey, because I've always been picking up on things, seeing things that other people weren't. In fact, I've got another memory, so you really bring back these early memories. Brilliant. It was before I started school, so I must have been about 3. Right. I ended up working in the world of birth and birth trauma and regression for about 10 years. That was, has formed part of my path of training, and the wisdom of babies, and when all that sort of magicalness gets switched off. Steiner talks about this, but I can remember at the age of 3, home was not the safest of places, Caroline Mary, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
There was a particular regression. I must have been like 9 months old, sitting in a high chair, and actually in my mind I'm just going, what the have I done?
Yeah.
So I always felt an alien at home. It was just like, how are these people behaving, really?
Yeah.
But I do have a memory of going into a certain corner when things were bad, and I suppose in a way I was meditating, but I would be able to close my eyes and I would see what I now recognize as codes, and I would connect up through the codes and sort of go into this space, and it was a way of me feeling safe. So yeah, from a very young age I've had these. So trying to exist in this world has, when you would say, what what's my story, is that it's being able to find myself as being safe and being able to make sense of the fact that I'm seeing things that other people aren't.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad.
No, you're my kind of person. That's why we were just talking before we came on, just talking to the viewers here now about the book that's just come out, because obviously I just had this launched, Who Called You Crazy for Having a Spiritual Awakening, because, and it's funny, isn't it, I did a lot of work on the cover, all the different iterations, and then these little sparkles, I was asking Spirit, because I was like, in the end, I just have too many options, show me. And of course there's these sparkles, this gold sparkle, because it's like the star energy, the gold energy, the awakening. But it is, you can really, people think you're crazy if they're not aware, if they're not opening to the same paradigm, shall we say that, or not opening to the same experience.
Different dimensions. We're all in different dimensions.
Exactly that. Exactly
we talk about the stone circles. People there in the stone circles picking up all these lovely energies, and I'm just picking up all the other stuff.
Yeah.
In a different dimension doesn't mean they're wrong, doesn't make me right. But it's, this is something I really stand for. It's about discerning what is our truth.
Yeah.
Our truth, what's right for us. Yeah, is something that's really important.
I really hear you. And it's taken me a long time to I feel like I'm doing a lot of the self-healing now. For years I was like, I've just got to help people, I love Jesus and I just wanted to be like Jesus. So I was like, kind to everyone, be kind and loving to everyone. And then bit by bit I've had to keep asking Spirit, like, why doesn't this work? And it's like, you're not for everybody. You don't walk into the supermarket and buy every piece of food because you're going food shopping. You don't go into like a social situation and expect yourself to speak to everybody, because we're all in different frequency matches and there's no point, and when I remember that, life flows easily, and it's not to judge the people that I don't connect to, it's just not right now, and then 2 years time you might connect. So it's taken me a long time to think I'm not failing, they're not failing, it's just when there's a match, there's a match. Like I put the post out, who wants to be on the show, and you were the one that picked it up just now, and that's a good match. So it's going.
The monks always said, this is a lovely one. I do sometimes bring forward stuff because they didn't really say very much, but sometimes they said it was just like something that just dropped in and has never left. But they used to say that mind of the universe. This is what really attracted me to the monks as well, because it was all about. So I'd like to talk about sort of, you talked about Jesus, so I'd like to sort of talk about my move in, my journey. But however, when I was with the monks, we were tuning into mind of the universe, and if we think how many galaxies, etc., we have, so that was something that we could term it source or creator. I mean, there's all different names. I mean, they have different frequencies, but whatever your bag is, whatever your doorway in is, use that. But they used to say, imagine, I suppose, did they say imagine? I don't know. Look, I'm just repeating it now in my own words, that at the moment of our birth, seeds were planted already by the mind of the universe for the ones that we are here to help.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's about us finding those seeds and helping those to grow. Just something I wanted to make a point of, because this is me, again, another one of my soapbox moments. I work with a lot of healers. Had somebody just on Monday who Look, it's great, isn't it? Walk in with an open heart, walk in with an open heart. Let's just give the love. Let's just give the love. This is why for so many healers, we're so unprotected, because I get to a point where I'm going, you already know that you're walking into a situation, right, where you've triggered people. All right. They're going to be, sending out arrows of judgment towards you. They're going to be, psychic attacking. If you haven't got that level of protection, why are you walking in with an open heart center? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
So I think one of the easiest, I want to give everybody a practice now, is just, if you're not sure, just ask the body's wisdom. I'm walking into this situation. I'm commanding now, I'm commanding now that all my energy centers, because if they're spinning left, they can be defensive. And if they're spinning right, then they're bringing energy in. All my energy centers, because we've got far more. I mean, we sort of just work on a bit of an ABC level in this country, but, we've actually got energy centers everywhere. I command all of my energy centers just to be spinning perfectly for this situation right here, right now. And just hand it over.
Yeah.
Because who's to say that my heart needs to be wide open, beaming love at these people, if actually all you're going to be doing is triggering them even more?
I really hear you with that. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. And it reminds me when I go to a healing fair, the small mind is like, oh, great, I'm going to help loads of people. Another part's like, oh, great, I'm going to earn some money, because let's face it, we've all got our coffers to fill and our bills to pay. And actually, the best prayer that I make time and time again when I'm really in tune is, show me who is for me and how I can help them so that we're a match. And then that's it. And somewhere I went, 3 weeks ago, I was busy all day long. They looked at my upstand and that was it. They were like, click. And it was like, boom, boom, boom. And it was just easy. It's a match, and the healing happened. And then another one I went to, there was nothing, and it was like tumbleweed, but it wasn't an easy match with anybody. And it was like, fair enough, because the words that I use, I've got obviously the Ascension Alchemist and the Ascension Alignment Coaching. It was a bit much for that crowd, and they're like, and they just walk, they just don't even see me.
They don't even see it.
They don't even see it. And I just have to remember, okay, I'm here. I spoke to some of the other stallholders, and I obviously run wellbeing fairs. So, they know me from that. So we chatted, and it was almost like a rest day for me. And it was weird because I'm like, well, I should be doing something. It's like, no, it's fine. You had a few.
Even the vibration going in has done something. There's so much that we don't see.
Yeah.
So much that we don't see. That's beautiful, Caroline.
Yeah. It's that surrender, isn't it? And when we are in that place, then we can do the next arising thing genuinely, from that place of ease, rather than the should, force, I need to.
Yeah.
It's
well, that's where we're moving as healers as well, aren't we? I mean, aren't we coming out of the epoch of that, the era of that? I've never, we're all bringing very many lifetimes with us, the ancestral, obviously the lineage as well, but we've also got, I've heard it termed the crystalline lineage, the crystalline tree, which is our past lives. But, as many of us as possible that can just lose that, because I've been working with energy now for 30, I keep saying 30 years. It's probably actually 32 now. I kind of haven't caught up with myself. But, it's that we don't need to be banging on those doors so much anymore.
Sure.
That time has gone, and that's a very exciting place for us to be, but also for so many of us who have had, difficulties, challenges come with the terrain, don't they? I often say that, actually one of the hardest life paths, I feel like I'm in Fame, when she had, healing costs, and right here is where you start paying, It's really one of those, isn't it? It's really a difficult life path, but I think, again, this 24, 25, 26, moving into 2027, it's going to be so different for us.
Yeah.
And I also just had it coming in very strongly again that, it's awakening not just the psychic abilities, not just the intuitive abilities, but also our healing abilities, our self-healing abilities.
And I'm going to just grab that for a moment, because if you don't already know, viewers, Ruth, the reason why I've connected with Ruth is because we are co-authors in a book that's coming out, The Intuitive Oracle. So we both obviously know Angela Orora Medway-Smith. And so we were both invited to be part of this project and felt called to do that. And Ruth's chapter is chapter 17, Becoming Your Own Oracle. So would you like to talk to me just for a little moment about that, how you even met Angela and how you came into doing that, and about your chapter?
It's happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
Suddenly I just get a random email. I don't know how I've ended up on somebody's list.
Okay.
So that's how I met Angela.
Right.
I just thought, this sounds really interesting, this group call. Never heard from them before.
Yeah.
Oops. And then had a one-to-one with her, and we just connected straight away. I mean,
brilliant.
my God, the work that she's been doing, for many more years than me. So for me, it's about becoming our own masters.
Yeah.
The word sovereignty is bandied around, but what does that actually mean? And with so much going on, well, I'm going to talk about AI here. Look, bloody marvelous, fantastic. It's the way that it is. Look, it's not going to stop. It's a bit like our awakening. It's like, the hare is out of the trap.
Okay.
So I also feel that part of my work is about, helping us all just to catch up with that.
Okay.
Because I really do feel that it's here as a tool for us. But the monks always said, technology and spirituality go hand in hand. As technology, this was 20 years ago, as technology advances, so does spirituality. They're all in cotton robes, all right? But when it came to the tech, everyone had the latest phone.
Right.
Yes.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because people have really dismissed social media and Google, and I'm like, to me it's an iteration of divine mind coming online. So the inner and the outer are reflecting, because to me, when my chapter in the book is talking about direct revelation, which is probably very similar to, similar in vein.
Yeah.
And like, for those people that don't realize they can ask questions and get answers inside, they're asking Google and getting the instant questions.
Yes.
So and the same with the we can connect to anyone in the world. It's telepathy, but in a technology sense. So
yes. And it will, particularly with this Gemini and Uranus energy. I mean, that's actually when I started getting a slight handle on tech. So, because, it's also about activating the part of the brain that's more in line with the times that we're living in.
Right.
And also that part of the, sort of the as yet inactive consciousness, I suppose, which is waiting to come online.
I've got you. And do you know what I've seen?
Discernment. How do we know what is true? It
is a discernment. But what was coming through was because I was like, well, why have we got the fear? And my senses, and I've seen this a lot with some of the clients I've had, because like you, I tend to end up working with healers rather than complete new to this people. And many of them have had challenges with technology. And the sense that I got many years ago was, if you were part of the downfall in Atlantis, certainly just in this Earth timeline, you probably had a fear of technology taking over and being contorted. So there's like a caution, or from other realms where technology was over, I want to say, surpassing the wisdom. So obviously, if technology is
misuse, well, that's the Atlantean wound, which I've had to do so much work on. But that misuse of power.
Sure. Yes, I think that's why a lot of people. So if you're listening and you've had a problem and challenge with technology, I was the same. I come in this world going, bloody hell, where's the horses? I just want to be on horses. I want to like the Native Americans.
Well, I've been saying, once I can control it with my mind, I'm going to be really good. I'm just waiting for that.
Sure. And that's the point, it's matching it. But if you're listening, viewers, and you've struggled with that, don't see it as like it's forever. There will be some process that you can work with and let go of the fear. And that's a lot of the work that I do with the energy field, is sensing in where is that contraction, where are we holding a contraction, which is a resistance, because it's not like you're going to be bad with technology. It's just you need to heal the resistance, and then it will start being easier and the blocks aren't there. So
well, very similar as well, because it's all very well, I see it a lot, particularly with I mean, again, we're really shifting as healers, but, for a long time, there's just been a put more light in, put more light in. I work with a lot of people. It's almost like putting in so much light, it becomes like a type of glue, a type of clay, almost sometimes. And it really is. I join a circle. I'll give her a shout out, actually, Samantha Selby, because she works also with the frequency of planets. She's an astrologer, but she talks about, and I'm going to totally nick it, Sam, but she talks about if you've ordered a new sofa, all right, you can't get it in until you've got your old sofa out.
Yeah, I've got you.
So again, an awful lot of the part that I work, you've got to activate it, but to get the frequency, this is where we need to be stepping off that hamster wheel of the 3D paradigm. So it is the intergenerational trauma. It is our lives. It is the core wounds. It is the past lives. And the more that we move that out, that needs to happen in order for the new to come in.
Yeah, I really like that. I love I think it's Louise Hay that when they're watching something around EFT, and it's the same. You can't clean a room without seeing the dirt. You can't just pretend it's not there and say it's fine now. It's just the process. It's part of the process, like washing up after dinner, isn't it? So Ruth, would you like to tell us a little bit about your chapter in the book, in the Intuitives Oracle, and how that links to the new earth and the new human and the times we're in?
Yes, so the Intuitives Oracle, I'm talking about the Oracle self. We've been talking, haven't we, about becoming our own masters, about becoming discerning about our own truth.
Yeah.
For me, I'm embodied energetics. It's very much about, rather than the going up and out and receiving, not that it's not there, the divine wisdom, it's about finding the divine wisdom that's already inherent within us. Activating that. I do actually, I've recorded something at the weekend, which is about just really connecting down to the galactic earth and really connecting and also connecting up to source. But through that process, it's about moving into the wisdom of the heart. We know that the heart is a brain in its own right now. So I think if we're talking about, how it because this is what this whole process is about. It's about switching off the logical mind, the logician mind, which is, I suppose, if you wanted to give it gender, we're talking about sort of, masculine, we're talking about yang, coming more into the yin, which is coming more into the heart. So if people were interested in that, they can just contact anybody who's watching. I'm saying, if you would like to contact me, then I will gift that to you for free. And it's a process about coming into that heart wisdom and also about connecting to the higher self.
Beautiful.
There's a bit of a process at the end, which is a higher self embodiment. If we think about the higher self sitting, can you see me? People call it the soul star chakra. So so if anybody was interested in, again, bringing that oracle self, which sort of sits in around the 7th dimension, but if you want to start bringing that down, then that is that is a practice.
Amazing.
Someone who's watching.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Ruth. And I'll ask you after the call to drop us a connection, and I'll put them in the comments below, and you can find all those links and all the people that Ruth has mentioned so far as well, because there's so many beautiful teachers out there, aren't there? And so this to me is the time that we're in, and this is why I felt very cool to do Ascension TV online, and the name dropped in, so I was like, okay, I'm going to roll with that, to help share the wisdom. And that's why, to me, technology is just amazing. We were talking momentarily about having that resistance, and I did, but actually it's a way of communicating around the world, rather than in our small tribe and the village that we're in, or the next village. We can connect to the world, and it's just wonderful, because I have really lent on that in my path, to find teachers like Diana Cooper and those other people that have their wisdom out, so that you're not feeling like you're alone in this journey, isn't it? And finding those other people that match us and what we're thinking and feeling. So
those pioneers. I mean, visibility issues, again, it's my medicine is other people's medicine. So again, a lot of people come to me because of the persecution wound, the witch wound, issues around visibility, because that's that's been a huge challenge for me. So when I'm listening to these others who are out and not fearful, yeah, it gives me strength.
Picks you up. It
Yeah,
picks us up, doesn't
yeah.
it? So, tell me a little bit about when we were doing the interview process. You've chosen to share a little bit about the new Earth and the new human. So, what does the new Earth mean to you? And then we'll move on to what does the new human mean to you? How does that look for you, Ruth?
Well, I think we've sort of, the new human. I think we've covered. It's this greater sense of awakening. So I know you said they go on to new human, but just want to recap.
Yeah.
It's about these inherent gifts coming online.
Yeah.
It's about us being the most fantastic, fullest, most fabulous expression of ourselves in our lifetimes. And I suppose then what's coming through now is soul purpose, because we do all have a purpose. We do all have a blueprint. The old 3D way of, I always wanted to do that, but I'm stuck in the 9 to 5. I think we're going to see a change there. And particularly if we want to bring in AI again, what is the thing that AI cannot replicate?
Yeah.
Can't replicate God's divine purpose, soul purpose.
Yeah. It can help us, but it isn't it.
Help
The
us with
tool,
that.
but I really hear you with that.
Yeah. So
Really.
I think that's about it's also about becoming our own safe haven.
Yeah, lovely.
So bringing those gifts online. I also, again, there's people out there with much better gifts of prophecy than me, who are talking about this. But what I see is I see it reflected in my clients.
Okay.
Like almost, it's my next level of learning, my next level of evolution comes through the clients that I receive.
Yeah.
I did notice, probably coming out of lockdown, I hate to say that word, but it was a real sort of change, wasn't there, around then, that I started noticing that on clients that I was attracting, that the heart energy center, so Taoist monks, so I work mainly with the 3 energy centers, but of course we've got energy centers everywhere, galactic centers, ascended, or chakras, the term chakra, sorry, that's the term I should be using. I always say energy center. But what I was starting to notice in the clients is that the heart chakra was extending up to the part, the center that we call the ascended heart, the higher heart, and that in some people was starting to extend to the throat. So and now when I'm working with people, and if I was to say now, where's mine, it's all one. So I think again with this evolution, I've also noticed that the knee chakras, that they are changing. What's known as the outer major here, that's suddenly been coming online. There's a lot of control that can come through this portal. But also it's where we receive the messages from the higher self, from Mercury, because again I work with the frequency of planets. He is the soul messenger. So I can also see that with this new human, that actually the way that we're energetically organized is also changing. And I've already mentioned moving from carbon to crystalline. We're going to be able to hold and contain more light. And I think then with this heart, it's more love. I mean, imagine a world where we're all, our ascended heart, our throats, and we're all, I can feel actually suddenly that was activating. So maybe it's going to go to there. We're just going to be wandering around the earth as these big hearts just giving love.
I love that. I
know, I've just suddenly gone all like, ain't it going to be great?
Just so much love there, isn't it? And I talk about in one of the chapters in my book actually about what happens during our awakenings. And when I was kind of trying to formulate and organize the information, I was like, okay, I'm going to use the chakras, the 7 regular chakras that most people know about these days, and because the different centers, they're like, I see them as like different frequency portals or dimensional portals. So they're connecting us to different aspects of life. And as you were saying, if you're opening them and you've learned those lessons and they're in coherence, then there's no definition. So if you're making love, you're connecting, you're having your vision, for example, you're downloading, divine energy and love for the partner you're with. You're connecting. You're not just connecting on a physical level or the emotional emotional level, but you're connecting on all those levels, isn't it? And so the more we're opening, the more we're awakening, and the more energy and that transmutation is happening, that's when those come into coherence, was the word that was coming, isn't it? And that to me is when we're really able to embody soul and higher self then, isn't it? It's and we live from that, you know, and that's, I feel like that's happening a lot more. And I, as a coach as well as a healer, I feel like that's where that element of it comes in, because some people I think are not keen on the coach word, but to me it's the soul guide. It's helping people step up and heal the lesson, you know, learn the lessons or do that healing, but within a kind of practical container, as well as just, okay, I'm going to give you loads of energy now. There's a little bit of other like other
living it is the embodiment. I mean, this is embodied energetics. It is all, you know, I know I'm talking about stars and higher energies and higher dimensions, but actually it's all about the body, because we've got, you know, the body is a vessel for a reason. We've been given them for a reason. And it's not just the energy centers, you know, it's everything. You know, if we start looking, you know, solid, liquid, gas, you know, if the gas being the energy, you know, what does the heart do? What does the blood do? You know, all of this endocrine system, you know, it's all working together. Yeah. So it's very much about the embodiment.
Oh, I love that.
For me. So, and then, so I was just getting that energy of New Earth back in, because it's quite nice to meet you, isn't it? It's like, again, something else that, you know, as I say, as I'm listening to these, you know, these other sort of, you know, experts, as I say, who are much more knowledgeable and gifted than me. Again, it's linking up to what the monks used to talk about. They used to talk about, you know, 20 years ago, we are going to see a spate of, you know, environmental disasters. There's going to be fires, there's going to be floods. This is because the planet is trying to cleanse. They also talked about, Diana Cooper talks about this, and I've heard Kelly Kolodny talk about this as well. And science is already starting to discover, you know, mountain ranges under the earth, different types of botanics, different types of plants. You know, this is where sort of, you know, my path and the knowledge that I've received starts to link in.
Sure.
Because the monks used to talk about that the new earth will rise, that it's ready, that actually we're going to get this movement. And they just used to talk about, you know, the earth is going to cleanse itself, that actually we are not going to be allowed to die out, all right? We're not going to be allowed to do that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm a great believer that we've had divine intervention, and I went through that phase of awakening where you start looking at all the conspiracies, and you know, you start going, oh my God, it's really dark, and then quite quickly you went, but it's okay, because there are so many helpers. And you know, that I remember actually Diana Cooper quoted something like, the light can always use the dark. So even if, like, say with COVID, yes, you could say many people died, it was really dark agenda, but actually a lot of good happened because people were taking time out, they were going for walks, they were taking less air travel. You know, there were so many good outcomes in that, you know. And so when I was a kid, I used to dream of a world where like children were supported, because I knew I was a soul, you know, an incarnating soul, that children were talked to like that, you know, at the appropriate level for their soul, not the childness that they had, you know, that we were honored, and all the health systems would be different, and the financial systems would be different. And I just used to look at the world and think, well, where the hell do I start? How can I change all this? Because I didn't know that there were loads of other people doing it, and I used to be like,
but also with that feeling of I have to save the world. I mean, that's the hero's journey as well, isn't it?
Such a big pressure.
Yeah, for the ones I can help. I like the fact that you mentioned about the financial systems, because that's also something that I am really being called to step into now, which is New Earth wealth.
Yeah.
Because actually, look, you know, if we talk about, you know, we've all got a frequency, haven't we? We've all got, if we talk about, you know, a current that runs through us, so we know, don't we? We know from scans that a baby's heart grows first, right? All of our hearts grew first. But we can also see that even before the heart grew, that there are these minuscule threads, and they can tell from this wonderful technology, these microscopes, that within these threads, it contains a voltage. It also contains DNA.
Right.
So back in the old, I don't know that these are what's known as the extraordinary meridians, which back when I was training, it was, you just have to tell people to imagine it. but we don't have to imagine. I mean, again, this is where science, technology, it can't be refuted anymore. They're not imaginary lines. We know that they exist. So if we think of that, and if we can just call that then the divine blueprint, why not? We can do a bit of an activation there, just to say, where are my extraordinary meridians? Where is my divine blueprint? You may start to feel a bit of a tingle if you're doing it with me, because we know that before, every part of the body grows. First of all, there is this, these I call them electrical wires, but it's how I see visually. So if that is our frequency, if that is our current, and then if we've got our purpose, our soul, if that is our currency, how we then move that currency into what is the currency of the world, which is money.
I
don't really think it's going anywhere anytime soon, but who's to say? But we're so trapped in the old 3D paradigm. I mean, I honestly look around and I'm like, we're still living in fiefdom here for so many people.
Oh, goodness, people don't realize, do they?
And this is something that I'm stepping into more and more. And it's again, Richard Rudd talks about this new gene key, because I channel the frequency of planets. So I work very closely, particularly with Pluto, who, death, rebirth, transformation. I mean, that's sort of, if I had to put myself in, one bracket, it's like that, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. That's what I do. Ego, death of the old, rebirth. But Richard Rudd was talking about this. I love these people because it's like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Thank you. Because it's the plutonic, the Pluto energy that's activating this gene key 41, which is then moving into the 55, which is the transformation. But within that also, we need to be bringing the money. Right? There needs to be a massive transfer of wealth. I don't want to start saying who or even judge how, because I don't care.
Either.
But we've got to drop our old beliefs, the way that we attach ourselves to money, the way that we relate to money. Once that happens, I mean, that's going to sort out.
It's the freedom. It's like a representation of freedom, isn't it? And the money connects to the abundance, and again, that is the freedom. So like, I know I have at times become very fixated and thinking, oh, I need to earn this much money. And then it's like, whoa, hang on. If I actually think what I want to do in my life, and I always had this vision for a rainbow a healing center, retreat, I want to be in nature, want to help other people. I've always had a dream of owning land and reforesting. And obviously
that's very new human.
Very
that is so, I've got a lot of clients
rewilding,
food,
bringing all of that. And also one of the projects that's kind of doesn't feel that far away is the Awakening Academy. I think it might be rebranded, but it will be a format a bit like Mind Valley, where a lot of healers come together. It's a platform online so people can share their wisdom. And all of the things that I think I want to do, it takes money. But if I concentrate on the feeling tone of that thing, which is Abraham Hicks' teaching, being in the vortex of the belief of feel what it's like, of course I'm going to do all that, because I wouldn't have had the dream drop through if it wasn't part of my destiny to do it. So all I need to do is say yes, which is why my coaching is called Ascension Alignment Coaching, because if I'm in alignment, the energy comes from here as an inspiration and it comes out through us very, very easily, and we're a match for it.
Go, isn't it?
You just let go, and the money will match. We will necessarily be catapulted into a place where we're receiving the money that we need to do the thing, because that's in the higher way of manifestation, whereas the old way is, and I got stuck in this, there was a real disconnect between what I wanted and what I believed and my belief systems. It's like, oh my God, I've got to work really hard. Oh God, how am I ever? Oh, well, I just give up. I can now do it, because I just can't get my head around how that could ever happen. And actually, last weekend, I realized, okay, I'm at the end of my journey with the book. It's coming out. What else do I do now? Like, there's a lot of different things on my plate right now, but what's the next thing that I'm concentrating on? And they showed me this, the Rainbow Centre making a savings account. And that was like, whoa, that's a real step, bringing it that one step closer.
Is this new earth wealth coming in? I just want to bring you, because I even felt the vibration just drop slightly, even with the word manifestation.
Right.
I work a lot with words as
Sure.
frequency.
Okay.
And it's funny because even the word manifestation is almost like it's been hijacked for the new
Right.
human that's going to be, you'll hear other people talking about this as well, co-creation.
Yes. I get you.
Reframes it,
Yeah.
which reframes it, because the manifestation, it ain't going to drop out the sky because it is all about action.
And
But
I hear
yeah,
that. It's like a
yeah,
click finger, I want this. And I struggled with that with the coaching for a long time, because it's like people go, oh, you just want this for the sake of wanting it. And that doesn't
the old
feel,
judgment. Oh, just buy it
it's,
away. Okay, just buy it away.
but it's like what's coming through. And that's when we come back to the new earth. It's like, what is for the highest good? What can I do? What is in alignment
Oracle
with,
self. Back
right?
to the
And
oracle
actually,
self.
it's that alignment, because when you're being yourself, you're naturally going to radiate that energy, and then you're going to create and co-create from that, and you'll meet the people, the abundance will come, the doors will open, and it's all then in divine plan, isn't it? And in alignment, rather than pushing or forcing or needing. It's a different energy then, isn't it?
I find it rather ironic, actually, that, with this, because our purpose is always, this is part, this blueprint, it's always looking for, I almost see it, remember that game of Operation when we were kids? I almost see it, different things light up at different times.
Sure.
And, and with this, new human, activations that I'm bringing through, and now with the new world, I find it really ironic. Because if I cannot tell you, and I think it must have been age of 10 when it first happened, bankruptcy, destitution, ended up, I grew up in Portugal for 7 years, ended up washing up on the shores of England at 17, actually refugee status, and was put into, an Airbnb. I didn't have an English passport at the time. So I do find it really quite funny that when I was a student, the amount of times I've lost everything on my backside, nothing, and have had to build and grow again. So I'm sort of kind of going through another one of those now. It's also a sign of shifting timelines.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is quite funny that the person who's just always lost, had it, woomph, gone. Okay, there's past life issues there. But it's also about me using energy, learning to use energy, about, okay, back to square one. How do we grow it again?
Yes, I love that. And I really resonate with it, because I've had every few years change partnership, change job, change home, and each time it's a different iteration. I had dreadlocks for a really long time, which people used to say, oh, it's a Rasta thing, and it's like, no, I believe it's an Indian like sadhu life, because at the same time I was doing a lot of yoga, and it was very much in the contemplation. But I had to talk briefly about astrology and those kind of things. I realized my south node is Aquarius and north node is Leo, and of course that's the direct opposite of like the aesthetic, which I lived in, and I literally didn't want to have money. I didn't ever want to run a business or anything. And after my awakening, the third major awakening, or like Kundalini shift, I retrained to do accounts, and it was so ironic. Literally, I brushed out my dreadlocks, put on a suit, and I would look at hippies, and they were looking me up and down, and I'm like, but I'm like you, and it's because I had to learn about business. And so that was a door that opened easily. Never in a million years would I have actually thought that would happen, but it actually helped me, because obviously right now I've been self-employed for 10 years or so, and I don't bat an eyelid, because I know how to run a spreadsheet, do accounts.
And I'm coming out in hives even thinking about Excel.
Right, but that's, you see, coming back to this, one of the chapters in the book is, get to know yourself, how you integrate your awakening, know thyself. So I was literally looking last night at my gene keys. I have it up in my kitchen, so I take one of the orbs, I can't think what you call, the one of the keys, and I do some contemplation.
I'm not an expert on gene keys, by the way. It's just that I've got a natural ability that I can activate it. So
right, okay.
I'm not an astrologer. I can't read the chart. My messes with my brain.
No.
But what I can do is bring through the frequencies of the planets. I'd like to talk. That's interesting what you said about the journey, because that's what it is, isn't it? Life. We are basically, even without going into nodes, right? You're born in the south, all right, and you're just heading true north. And sometimes we just end up going south southwest, don't we, or north northeast?
Yes, yeah.
Because I'm traveling from Virgo, I wanted to be a nun. So this is my the first step of my journey. I went to a convent. That was my early schooling.
I was that
I so wanted to be a nun. And then I just didn't want to take my first communion because it's just like, this isn't right for me. And I was like, oh. So I've always had that journey out of the 3D, but I'm traveling from Virgo, the priestess, devotional, ended up as a monk, and I'm moving towards Pisces.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting,
So,
isn't it? And my rising is Virgo. So when I discovered that, because my son is in Leo, and I was a big performer as a kid. I played a lot of music and jazz band and choirs and everything. So, and then found this dancing, and I would be dancing and people take pictures because I was very, very elaborate dancer. And
yeah.
then really I would come away from a situation, be like, well, now what? You can't live on stage when you're at your home washing up. And actually, when I discovered the Virgo energy, I was like, oh, that's the spreadsheets, that's the account of the order, and it's that helps me do everything else I do. Otherwise, I'd be in chaos, and I was for a while. I had so many ideas up here, very existential, and that was that Aquarius. I'd sit and contemplate, and it's like, I've got to drop it down. Got to drop it down into the world, and that's why I write. So I'm just aware of time. I could talk like this all day because it's
I've been so animated and so excited because I've just found you wonderfully activating in the right way to chat to. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's gorgeous, isn't it, Ruth? And I just wondered, I know, because we've actually got a call, because we're both in this book, Intuitive Oracle. And if you want to be part of that journey, you can actually sign up to be, it's not going to be relevant for very long, but for a month or so, it will be relevant. If you want to join our advanced reader team, I'll pop a link in the bottom. And with these journeys, with these books, if you help us join, basically you get an advanced reader copy, then you can buy the ebook for us, which is usually $177 for the trial period or the launch offer, and we ask you to put a review. And the reason why we ask you to do that is, which is what happened in mine, I was gobsmacked. I was thinking, I'm not bothered, I don't need a bestseller. And then I was like, actually, what would I love for the
Leo? Come on, Caroline.
Well, it was the high, and also this is the thing about talking about manifestation, ego, soul. It's like, okay, is it for my highest good to have a bestseller? And I'm hearing in my ear, yes. And the reason is not so I can go, yay, but it's nice for me to receive.
But why not?
Confirmation.
We're going to get into a whole tangent here, but why not?
Why not? Because of that fear of it being ego, not soul. But the point is, when we become a bestseller on Amazon, there is an algorithm, and Amazon will then share it more. And the thing is, we write these books as healers. We want people to read the words. We want people to heal and open and activate. I'm like Ruth. I'm here to help the new earth coming in. And so if you want to help us, not only do you get that book and you get the PDF, of it, and you get the ebook, but you'll be helping us to share the book more. Okay, and it comes out, I think I've got November the 15th in my mind, but I might be
November the 11th.
Oh, there we go. Lovely. Oh, 11/11. Yay!
I will also gift any of the advanced readers. I will also gift the practice that I was talking about.
Beautiful, lovely. So I'll put the link down there. But if you're interested in us, obviously you can find us on Facebook. I'm Caroline Mary on Facebook, and Ruth is Ruth Mitchel Energy. You're right there, yeah.
Ruth Mitchell Energy, that's right.
Yeah. And then, but Ruth, before we go, I just wanted to check in when you did the application form, because this is my nerd, right? I've got Google Forms for everything in my life. And you mentioned you might give a little tool or a little activation or a meditation or something for our listeners. Do you have time for that? Do you want to do?
I do. I'd forgotten about it. But let me just feel into the space. I tell you what I'm going to do. Let me just feel into it. Just before you were talking about coming out of the head. Now, with this new energy, this new frequency, this new voltage that's coming in. Now, I know I'm sort of past being a woman of that certain age, but there is a lot of mind fog. I'm seeing a lot of people are contacting me with mind fog. Not busy mind. So why don't we just take you into it's something we used to do, but it's sort of my own way now. But I'll talk you through it. Beautiful. Basically, let's just get out of the mind. How about that?
Beautiful.
When you were talking about that, let's just get out of mind. So just coming into body, breathing nicely and deeply. and just settling. We've been very animated ourselves, sort of that excitement of two souls recognizing each other, which has been a wonderful experience. I hope it has been for everybody watching. There was a lot of fireworks going on, so we're just going to come and settle into body. And just really feeling, you can either be standing or sitting, but if you're sitting, just wherever you're feeling your body coming in contact with something solid, just allowing yourself to feel held there. And now, particularly with these incoming energies, we talk a lot about grounding. I had a real issue with grounding. All anybody would ever tell me was to ground, and it's just I realize now that what I was grounding into didn't resonate with my frequency. So we're not going to go there actually at this moment in time, but I just wanted to bring that into people's awareness. I tend to attract a lot of people who've also had difficulty in grounding because it's actually about grounding into the new earth. But what we're going to do, right, we're just going to move into that. Remember I talked about that trust of the energy centers, all right? Just trusting. All right. And it's known, people call it the Earth Star chakra. It's about a foot. I'm not good on measurements. About 30 centimeters, possibly. I did go to a European school. So we're just going to come into that Earth Star chakra, and we're just going to ground into that. Lifting up the toes. Let's just lift up all the toes. All right, give them a good stretch. Now just intending it with the mind. Don't get too hung up on how you're doing it. Just replace them: big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe. And just really, I'm almost feeling now that my feet are dropping through the floor and I'm standing, resting on my Earth Star chakra. Now from here, again, practice from the Taoists. Our mind is in our mind. We've got the mind, the heart mind, middle dungeon, reservoir, energy center. And we have lower dungeon, the gut, brain. So just drop from the mind, drop into the heart. Just intend it. The more I work with energy, the more I realize it's just letting go. So we're just going to allow, because there's a lot of incoming energy that's affecting the head. We've talked about the brain being activated. We've mentioned slightly the Uranus energy that's coming in. And we're being bombarded, let's face it, news, social media, just dropping the mind into the heart, into that heart wisdom. Nice deep breath. And then just allowing it just to drop, dropping it out of the head and just, this wisdom, bringing it into the heart. And now from here, dropping into lower dungeon, base chakra, sacral, sort of around that area. Bowl of the pelvis. Yeah, I just felt my lower back is just released. And that's it. And just breathing through the heart. Nice practice, dropping the mind into the lower part and just allowing that energy to drop from the mind into the heart. And from here, we're just going to let it move down the legs. You may like to stand for this practice. You may like to move around. But just allowing that. You may start to feel a slight opening on your crown now, because as you're releasing that type of energy, that brain fog, that anxiety, that overwhelm can be a sign of resistance. It's just a sign of energies moving in all different ways at the moment. It's affecting the nervous system, the blood, the cells, the endocrine system. It is affecting everything. This new frequency is affecting everything. So just bringing, as the conscious mind expands, so does the subconscious. So we're just going to drop down and just dropping it down into that ball. All right. And just trusting that ball knows what to do with it. That Earth Star chakra knows exactly what to do with it. What we're actually doing here is that we're grounding, like electricity, we're grounding the new energy. From here, the crown opening, you may suddenly become aware, or maybe you have been aware of the Soul Star chakra, which also is, is trying to filter. So let's just increase this practice now. What is the information that wants to come through, moving through the crown, dropping the mind, to the heart, to the gut, down the legs, and into the Earth Star chakra. And pause the video and continue with this for as long as you feel. Okay, it is done. There's a bit of new earth energy coming in there, new human energy coming in there. So for whoever's watching, I hope you've received a lot. Energy will always meet you exactly where you're at. So you're perfectly safe.
Beautiful. That was lovely. Thank you, Ruth. And I'm going to just say, if you feel to, you can watch this again, and receive that and enjoy that meditation again. I certainly felt a reminder of me, my essence, my soul. And we were talking before the call about how as healers we can quite trigger a lot of people, and I've seen that, and I would stop and resist and contract and think, oh, there's something wrong with me, rather than like, okay, I'm really sorry I'm triggering you, but I'm still me and I'm still here and I'm still going to be me, and really opening back up rather than being in the clench. So thank you for that. That was lovely. I felt really like, oh, here I am. Oh yeah, right. Don't have to try so hard or fit myself into somebody else's pretzel or box. Just going to be me. And that was that's just what I needed. So
my work is done. Beautiful. It's about just being ourselves.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Oh, Ruth, I could talk to you all day.
No.
I'm going to say thank you so much. It's been absolutely gorgeous. Have you got any last words you'd like to say to our beautiful listeners and viewers?
No, just listen, hold the line, stick with it. All right. Everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, I love that. I used to say to people, look, we're on Earth for the biggest party in the universe, right? Or certainly that we've seen on Earth. We just got to do a bit clearing up, and that's fine. That's what we're doing. We're weaving our story, and we're unwinding the journeys and the timelines that have been in stasis, shall we say, and doing the healing on behalf of our ancestors. So it's big work, but there are a lot of people on Earth that want to support you, but there's also a lot in the unseen. So call out, make your prayers, and know that you're supported, beautiful people, because that is what keeps me going every day. And so yeah, it's been absolutely gorgeous. If you want to connect to Ruth Mitchell, you can find her on Facebook, Ruth Mitchell Energy, and embodiedenergetics.co.uk. I will be placing links in the comments below anyway, and in the blurb below, so you can find us and go check her out. She's amazing. I see your posts on Facebook and I'm like, oh, I really want a session with you. It's like years ago it was like a tumbleweed, like, God, I'm the only one, and now I'm like, God, there's so many beautiful healers. I'm like, I want a session with you, and I want a session with you. So go check her out.
I've only been on Facebook for September 2 years. 2 years, yeah. And then with this galactic self energy that's been coming, and I've actually been off all socials, I think, from December through to June. Actually, so I'm just emerging now. I'm in the birth canal.
Amazing, and that's what we have to do, isn't it? I know I've gone quiet while I'm birthing the book, and now I'm kind of know that I'll be coming back and bringing things online again. So there we go. Beautiful. So much love to you all. I really look forward to seeing you again. I've got a wellbeing fair this weekend. If you are in Mid Wales, come and see us at the Jubilee Hall in Llanelwedd there, and if not, catch us online and look out, because there'll be author interviews soon. Angela is going to be doing those in October, so we'll be having more discussions with the other authors as well. But you can find me on the next episode in a few days or next week. So much love to you all, and we will see you soon. Take care and bye for now.